I am making an update to my hecahands deck profile or Burst Protocols release, as hecahands got one indirect support card in this set, and I figured because of what it does, I might as well make an update to hecahands. Or, well, specifically the Horus version of hecahands. Not that that really matters. Starting off with the monsters, I play 3 copies of Nightmare Apprentice. Nightmare Apprentice has the effect that you can discard a card from your hand to be able to special summon it, and then on summon will let you add an illusion monster from your deck to your hand. I'll get it out of the way now. All the illusion monsters in this deck share the effect of when they battle, neither monster can be destroyed in that battle. Next, I play 3 copies of Hecahands Ibtel. Hecahands Ibtel is able to reveal itself in your hand for cost, to shuffle itself back into the deck, to then summon a different Hecahands monster from your deck to your field. And then if Ibtel is sent to the graveyard by card effect, then you can special target a Hecahands monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Which Burst Protocol gives you 3 more ways of being able to dump Ibtel or the next card, which is Hecahands Yodel. Yodel does the exact same thing as Ibtel, except for spells and traps. You can reveal Yodel in your hand to be able to set a add a Hecahand spell trap from your deck to your hand. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, then you get to set a Hecahand spell trap from your graveyard. Next, I play 2 copies of Hecahands Gygus. Hecahands Gygus has the once per turn effect of being able to look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. If one is a monster, you summon it to your field. If not, then the remaining... that part doesn't really care, because any remaining cards that it reveals are shuffled back into the deck. And then Gygus and the next 2 Hecahands monsters share the effect of when your opponent adds a card from deck to hand except during the draw phase, then they get to summon themselves for free. Next, I play 3 copies of Hecahands Godos. Godos has the effect of during your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, Godos can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Hecahands Brius. Brius I still feel like is the worst of the Hecahands monsters, but I feel like you still need to play it. As Brius is able to look at 1 random card in your opponent's hand, reveal it. If it's a monster, you can summon it. If not, then it just stays in their hand. But I do like Brius because it does give you a bit of hand knowledge. As at one point I had used Brius' effect, revealed an imperm, and I was able to play around the infinite impermanence. Next, I play the Horus engine of 1 Duamatef, 1 Happy, 1 Kebasenuef. All the Horus monsters are able to summon themselves from your graveyard as long as you control King of Sarcophagus. And they each have their own unique effects that trigger when a card under their control... when a card you control on your field leaves the field by an opponent's card. Where Duamatef will let you draw 1 card for every different monster name you have in the main monster zone. Happy will let you target 2 cards in the graveyard or banish and return them to the owner's hand. Kebasenuef is the worst of the 4, just because it makes so that your Horus monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects till the end of the turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Imseti, Glory of Horus. Imseti has the additional effect of being able to discard itself and another card to the graveyard, so that you can so you can add King Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand, and then get to draw 1 card. And then, when a card leaves the field, Imseti will let you target 1 card on the field and send it to the graveyard. For the hand traps, I play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. You can discard this card in your opponent's main phase, target an effect monster your opponent controls, and negates effects till the end of the turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This is just meant to negate anything that will let your opponent add from deck to hand, summon from deck, or send from deck to graveyard. For these spells, I play 2 copies of Hecahands Tartarus. Hecahands Tartarus has 2 effects, one of which I never use, which is... Well, the first has a condition of you can only use each effect of Hecahands Tartarus once per turn, where you can use Tartarus' effect to then target a face-up spell or trap your opponent controls, return to hand. I never use that effect. I mainly use it for its next effect, which lets you fusion summon a Hecahands monster by banishing from your field or graveyard. And you can also use monsters you control that your opponent owns as Hecahands monsters. I usually use this to summon Hecahands Xeno. Next, I play 3 copies of Nightmare Hands. Nightmare Hands has 2 effects, both of which are hard ones per turns. But you can activate Nightmare Hands, sending a level... What was it? You can send an illusion monster from your deck to the graveyard. And then once per turn, if you control a level 7 or higher... Let's see, it was... Level 5 or higher illusion monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard. To then be able to target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. And you can only use each effect of Nightmare Hands once per turn. Which is fine, because for some reason it's a quick effect. Or it's a quick play, I mean. Next, I play 3 copies of the Hidden Hecahands. The Hidden Hecahands has the effect that you can activate it to add a Hecahands monster from your deck to your hand. But if you send another card you control to the graveyard when you activate it, then you can also set a Hecahands spell trap from your deck. Then, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, so your opponent gets to draw a card and then discard a card. You can only use each effect of the Hidden Hecahands once per turn. Now, make your opponent draw is good in case you have a Gygas or a Brius in your hand, or even Godos. Because your opponent drawing will actually trigger the Hecahand monster. Next, I play 3 copies of King Sarcophagus. Up to 4 times per turn, King Sarcophagus will let you discard a card to send a Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then it also protects your Horus monsters by making so they cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not specifically target them. And then once per turn during the damage step, when a Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can activate King Sarcophagus to send that monster to the graveyard. For the traps, I play 2 copies of Ibal Hecahands. Ibal Hecahands, just in the next card, both cannot only be activated if you control a Hecahands monster. Whereas Ibal will you negate that activated monster effect, destroy it, and then you can special summon it to your side of the field as long as it was destroyed. Then next I play 2 copies of Yod All Hecahands. This is the same thing as Ibal, just rather than summoning, it will set to your field. And then lastly for the main deck, I play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence can be activated from your hand as long as you control no face-up cards. But if it's activated on the field, then it negates all spells and traps in its column until the end of the turn. But all it does is lets you target an effect monster your opponent controls and gets effects at the end of the turn. And that is it for the main deck. One thing I need to point out with Imperm is if you activate on your turn, you need to be careful. As if you activate a spell trap in Imperm's column, then it will be negated by the Infinite Impermanence. For the extra deck, I play the 1 IP Masquerena, just being able to link summon on your opponent's turn into a monster that they can't destroy by card effect. 1 copy of SP Little Knight. This is why I summon with Masquerena's effect. As you summon this on your opponent's turn, and now you can banish a card your opponent controls or in their graveyard. And then SP Little Knight is able to do that once per turn when it's link summoned, as long as it's link summoned using a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster. And then Little Knight also has the effect that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can target 2 monsters on the field, with at least one being a monster you control. Banish both until the end of the turn. Then next, I play 3 copies of Hecahands Jowza. Hecahands Jowza has the once per turn effect of being able to add a Hecahands card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And that is literally all Jowza does. Just being able to search a Hecahands card. And then next, I play 2 copies of Hecahands Xeno. Hecahands Xeno has the main phase quick effect of being able to look at 2 random cards in your opponent's extra deck, and you summon one of them. And then if Xeno is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, then you can then use Xeno's effect to be able to steal as many of your opponent's monsters as possible. Or as many as you want, I should say. The main thing I like about this deck is that they steal monsters, but they do not negate their effects. Next, for the Xyz monsters, play 1 copy of Dampier Vampire Sheridan. This is in the deck just because of how you can use your opponent's stolen monsters that have levels as level 6 for Xyz summon. But it has the effect of, once per turn, you can detach a material, target a... I can't remember if it's a card or a monster. Let's see. Target card your opponent controls. Okay, target card your opponent controls sent to the graveyard. And then if a monster card is sent to the from field to your opponent's graveyard by card effect, or a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard sent to your opponent's graveyard. I apologize for not being able to read. Then you can detach a material from this card and special summon one of those monsters to your field and defense position. Next, for rank 8s, I play Photon Lord as a monster negate, Orcus or Dingirsu, and as just to be able to attach banish cards, or be able to detach material so your other cards aren't destroyed by card effect. Coach King, just to be able to draw 3. As up to thrice per turn, you can use Coach King's effect to draw a card, reveal it. If it's a monster, then you take 800 points of damage. However, if you use that effect, then you cannot attack that directly. You cannot declare your battle phase that turn. Hope Harbinger for spell negates. Buzz King for burn damage. Then I play 1 copy of the Zombie Vampire. As the Zombie Vampire is able to activate its effect, detach material, so that both players send the top 4 cards of the deck to the graveyard, and then you get to summon one of the revealed cards. Or not revealed, you get to summon one of the monsters that was sent to the graveyard by its effect. And then the other thing with the Zombie Vampire is it and monsters summoned from the graveyard cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Which the Zombie Vampire can actually be an extender in this deck, as I forgot to mention it. But Jowza has to either be fusion summoned or contact fusion summoned by tributing the monsters you need to summon it. So you can tribute an illusion monster. So you can tribute an opponent's monster that you control. And then you can also tribute Nightmare Apprentice and be able to summon Jowza. And then lastly, for the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Super Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis. I hardly ever actually summon this monster, But it has the effect that while it's on the field, neither player can activate the effects of the monsters with 3,000 or more attack. Then once returned, can detach a material, target one monster on the field, and return it to the hand. And that is it for my hecahands deck profile. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, ideas decks like to see be made in the future, or decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.